Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. A original king from the 1G crew.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube Messiah of an innocent, never duplicated superstar Tim. Vicious Tim. We are talking about Raw this week versus New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, before we get into that, some of y'all may have been wondering, chances are most of you probably weren't, hey, how come there was no episode last week? Apologize for that for you folks. There was matters beyond our control here at the Vicious Studios. A certain producer named Wade may or may not have spent the budget for last week's episode on cocaine and hookers. Don't even try and pass it off saying that you didn't. Sorry. So yeah, because of that, due to that, we weren't able to. But man, a lot of big things went down that, honest to God, wish I could have addressed last week. You know, All In was that weekend beforehand, was that weekend prior, and just great show. Absolutely loved it. You know, it had its fair share of hiccups, you know, but for a first-time show, it was great. You know, and Cody Rhodes winning the NWA title, absolutely great. You know, that picture of him sitting in the middle of the ring, bloodied up, holding it, just clenching onto it, teary-eyed. Picture says 1,000 words. That right there absolutely sold it. You know, yeah, they did announce Cody's going to have a rematch with Nick Aldis at the NWA 70th anniversary show coming up in October. So that match is going to happen. Also, personal speculation and guess, more than likely they're going to have a match at Death Before Dishonor, or possibly even when Ring of Honor does the show at the Garden. Now, that being said, now we're going to move into this week's show. Obviously, for those who may not have seen Raw last week, I'll try and clue in what parts from this week were in it. You know, that way to try and fill the void. Don't want to make this like a giant 3-hour episode. You know, I'm going to try and condense all of this week's episode and the big points that connect from this week into last week I'm going to mention. Now, with that said, let's get this going. Raw, it starts out with Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman coming out to the ring. They're now the mean, fierce trio that has taken down the Shield. They come out highlighting about on how they beat them, and you know, you look over it. I mean, seriously, a lot of people were saying, oh, this segment shit the bed, when last week on Raw, the closing segment was that they beat the ungodly hell out of them, and they had, you know, but you think about it though, the Shield were introduced as a big top dominating force right off the start. They attacked John Cena, they attacked Riott, every wrestler on the roster they went after at least once, and they killed them. Now that the band is back together, a new group shows up and they actually wipe the floor with them. So you look at it in this perspective. The guys who dominated the field for X amount of years just got dominated themselves. You know? So yeah, that's on that story that's telling. Braun also hyped up about on how he's going to wind up wiping the floor with Roman at Hell in a Cell. And, yeah, Ziggler, McIntyre, they were gloating about on how last week they took out the Revival, and now they won the tag titles last week against the B team. They're going to wipe the floor with the B team later tonight in the show. We'll go over that match. And, you know, they were also congratulating all the wrestlers that were out there also, because they said, because you all helped end the Shield, helped stop them. They say they're the, and then Braun was saying, they say they're the hounds of justice. You're looking at the dogs of war right here. And then next thing you know, you heard the ever infamous Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta Shield. They came down. Ambrose running charge, starts clobbering. Few guys, they start beating the shit out of everyone. Next thing you know, Ambrose pulls out a duffel bag, starts handing the boys axe handles. Next thing you know, they start clearing house. My first thought was, oh dear God, please don't, please do not give us a axe handle on a pole match. We do not need that. We do not need any more Vince Russo-ism on this. But yeah, that happened, and then later on, after that, they pulled the later on, after that, they cut the commercial, they come back, the Shield's in the back, they're yelling and screaming and arguing with cops while they still got the sticks in their hand. Corbin comes over, hey, cool it now. I'm gonna make you guys a deal. I'm not gonna have charges pressed against you like I did last week, provided you calm yourselves and get out of here. And keep in mind, I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not quoting them. So, it says basically, if you don't, you all, Roman, Seth, you two will relinquish your titles, and you, all three of you, will be locked up for a long, long time. So they're just like, alright, fine. And then they just walk off. Now with that said, now we get to the first match of the night. It was Nikki Bella versus Ruby Riott. Pretty much describes this match because, yes, I have my fair share of criticism against the Bellas, much like a lot of people. But I mean, seriously, come on. And I'm not going to do that snarky, talent isn't sexually transmitted joke. No, because that shit, I'm an asshole. I'm foul. I'm rude. I'm all the nasty, I'm pretty much almost every nasty thing you can think of. I'm not going to go and make a fucking joke like that because that's just stupid. But point being though, them girls do not really have much talent. You look at some and you just look, you're like, I could see them going for the long haul. And then you look at some, you just think, well, they got the passion, but they just don't have it. And then you see some that have it, but don't have the passion. And then you just look at some and you're like, well, why? Why did you sign up? I mean, for lack of a better example, the Ultimate Warrior. Really, I mean, he had, that or frickin' Brackus from back in the day. That's a better example, Brackus. Just, he was a bodybuilder, no real big intention, Bellas, they were doing that, just get noticed, they got noticed, and then they left, they tried doing indie tours, and, tried doing the indie scene, just doing photo shoots and Comic-Cons and shit like that. Did not go well, they came back, and yeah. Ugh. I'm sorry, but no. Now that I've done officially shitting all over that, let's shit over this match. And honestly, the only good point was crediting Ruby Riott for on how she pretty much had to play up to Nikki. That's about the best I can compliment on it. Match came to an end. Nikki Bella, she hit that move, the rack tag. That was it. 1, 2, 3. That was it. And next matchup we got the Authors of Pain going against Local Jobbers. Now the Authors of Pain, they've been in a bit of a rut since Precious Paul Ellering have left them the week after WrestleMania, and, well, they now have a new manager. Drake Maverick, the general manager of 205 Live, and, you know, that rock star, Drake Maverick, I guarantee he can make, that little spud Drake Maverick, I guarantee he can make a couple of rock stars out of those guys. I really hope one of you at least got that joke. Anyways, it was what it was. Authors of Pain against local jobbers. It was a piss break squash match. And it was kind of funny because my dad was watching this match with me, and the whole time he just kept saying, "Ugh, this is such a disgrace." Well, what do you mean, Pop? I just want to understand. What do you mean it's a disgrace? Oh, look on how small and skinny they are, and you got them going against them big two guys. Well, yeah. Well, it's obvious they're going to lose. Well, yeah. Where's the disgrace? It's a squash match. They're meant to make them look better. Really? Yeah. Oh, shit. Well, damn it. Did a good job. Yeah. That was honestly on how that entire conversation went with me and my dad right then and there when we were watching it. You know, and my dad, I grew up fucking watching wrestling with him, you know. I grew up watching wrestling with him, and, you know, just, that was my one little personal note I'm taking on to this show. I had to explain to my dad the concept of what a squash match is. But yeah, Drake Maverick as their manager, I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. He is a hell of a talent, and he has got he's got the gift of gab. He can talk. But seeing him with those big two fucking bastards is like seeing the little 8-year-old boy. It's like seeing a little 8-year-old boy hanging out with two big butch, like, high school freshmen that look like they can bench a Buick. And it's just like, what the Yeah. Okay, with that said, now the next match. Ziggler and McIntyre going against the B team for the tag title rematch. And this was, well, very much so what you would expect. Surprisingly, the B team did have somewhat of a good fight, but yeah. Yeah, it was what it was. Ziggler and McIntyre got the win. They hit that Claymore zigzag. And then immediately after the win, Rollins and Ambrose appeared right out of nowhere, proceeded to beat the shit out of them. Ziggler and McIntyre ran off. Fast forward a little bit later, they show a backstage segment of Corbin bitching them two out, saying, "I told you guys, the Shield wasn't allowed in here." And you just see Rollins like, "What are you talking about? They're not." Ambrose, "The Shield ain't here at all. It's just Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. No, in the Shield, they're probably down at the bar throwing back a few beers now. Yeah, but it's just us. We had an issue. We were just dealing with it." And then they started going on, which then led to a segment. And long story short, we now have a tag title match. Ziggler and McIntyre versus Seth and Dean at Hell in a Cell. So, yeah. Honestly, my money's on Seth and Dean winning. Seth going to be a double champ again. And Dean winning it, being a two-time tag champ. So, yeah. Next matchup we get, well, I can't even say it was a matchup because the bell never even rang. Kevin Owens, he came out. It was supposed to be Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley. Kevin Owens, who did say 2 weeks prior that he quit. And then last week, as Bobby Lashley is being forced to attend a learn how to self-meditate and self-heal, come try a kumbaya bullshit, Kevin Owens surprise attacks him and beats the shit out of him. So Owens comes out. Tyler Breeze comes out. Breeze gets the shit beat out of him, and then Owens cuts a promo. And this was probably one of the best Kevin Owens promos I have seen in WWE. Because he just was like, the way he just did it, it didn't even feel like it was a Kevin Owens. It felt more like a Kevin Steen promo. Talking about on how he quit. But right after he quit, Baron Corbin called him up, asked him to come back, said, begged and pleaded with him and all that jazz. You know, was offering him everything under the sun, basically. And again, keep in mind, I'm paraphrasing. You know, and then he just said he just wants one condition. One condition to come back. He does not want to be held accountable for his actions. What he did to Tyler Breeze was a result of his job. Beating up the Shield, a result of his job. Going after Bobby Lashley, he's going after him because how Bobby Lashley hurt his best friend, Sami Zayn. Now that right there, perfect story for him. Knew that was going to happen the second saw Owens attack Lashley. You knew that was going to come up. So this is really great to see, you know. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're just wasting on Owens. They're not using him for nothing good. Dude, not everyone can be the fucking main top guy. Not everyone can have 5-star fucking storylines. I mean, for crying out loud, probably one of the stupidest stories, probably one of the stupidest storylines and rivalries in the history of WWE, but it still hits a fucking funny bone for me, and I will go back and watch it. The one between fucking Tyson Kidd and Yoshitatsu over a fucking wrestling figure. I mean, come on. You want another good one that's just so horrible you can't help but laugh and watch over it? Look at the one with Big Boss Man and Big Show about on how Boss Man, your daddy's dead, fucking with Big Show because his dad died. I mean, what the fuck? That's shitty right there in and of itself. But just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me and it's the way I'm wired, but it doesn't matter. You could have the worst story in the world. But if you put everything you got into it, you just made that fucking gold. You know? Now that said, we now get, next up we got another tag match. Bobby Roode and Chade Gable, yes you heard me right, Bobby Roode and Chade Gable, they started up a tag team last week. Going against the Ascension, this is a rematch from last week. And the way that they're playing it, I'm kind of digging it because it's that Chade Gable wanting to, like, really over-impress Bobby Roode. Like, you know, boom, like, insisting. Tag, Roode was ready to go and start, and right out of nowhere, you just see Chade. I'll do it. Come on, let me in. I'll do it. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. You know, going in like that. And just the way that they're doing it, well, I don't want to say it's unique. Poor choice of words on my part. Sorry. But it's different to see. And I'm digging it. I like it. Now, the match was what it was. The one thing I did like was on how the Ascension did get a chance to shine and actually, you know, show that they can be a credible tag team if they were given the opportunity again. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and shit about on how they fucked up the Ascension when, you know, they fucked up on the Ascension when they got to the main roster because, you know, you've heard one person go off about that, you've heard a million of them. Point being, the Ascension found a way to remake themselves with the Fashion Files. They've got a way to get themselves back noticed. And, you know, not only that, they're on TV, they're getting decent, you know, until you hear them say they don't like being there, don't go fucking saying, oh, they must hate being there. I bet they hate being there. Don't fucking put words in people's mouths, man. That's just being an asshole. You You know? That being said, match was what it was. Match came to an end when Roode, he got a hot tag in, cleaned up house, and just as he was in the corner getting ready to set things up to go and take out Connor, Gable tagged himself back in, got in, picked up Connor, deadlift German suplex 1, 2, 3. That was it. So, personal speculation. How I see this going with them. Them two, they get a tag. They start up a tag team. They keep going like this for a few months, you know, and then eventually, after a little bit, you know, one of them just starts. Gable, he winds up getting an overinflated ego because he thinks he's the sole star of the team, not Bobby. And then, boom, we get a feud from there. Just a personal thought. So, next up, we got women's tag action. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James coming out, going against Natayla and Ronda Rousey. And before we get to the match, one thing we need to address. Who the fuck picked out Alicia Foxx's wardrobe? Because Alicia Foxx came out with them and, well, Alicia Foxx looked like she was trying to go for a Rihanna impersonation. And not gonna lie, damn girl, she pulled that shit off. Whoo! Damn. Needed some fucking heart meds. See Mickie James, Alicia Foxx pulling that look off, and oh, damn, in general, oh, everywhere, all over. So, yeah, let's get to the match. Good bit of back and forth start, but heels that were for the most part leading. One thing that was cool to see in this match was Ronda at one point got in, wound up, and her and Natty actually did the heart attack. You know, shades of her father, Jim the Anvil, who passed recently. You know, and match came back. You know, match went on. Match eventually came to an end with. Well, actually, before I get to the end, I want to highlight one specific part was at one point during the match in there, while they were in there, Ronda was in, Alexa Bliss was in. Alexa really started working Ronda's ribs good, and it wound up showing through the entire match. And then eventually the match came to an end. Ronda Rousey wound up locking in an armbar on Mickie James, but before she did that, possibly the funniest thing I have ever seen for wrestling. Ronda Rousey doing her Hulk up moment, the thing, you know, like slapping her shoulders and then going Super Saiyan, ah! You know, she started throwing the punches and then doing, back up, back up, back up, back up, back. You could hear her yelling back up. What the fuck? I mean, this shit, I don't know what the fuck to take from that. Like, was that supposed to be like to intimidate, or was that supposed to be, or was she calling her spots out loud, or what the fuck? Just, gah. Which, by the way, if we don't see backup shirts or memes soon, I'm gonna fucking snap. So yeah, match came to an end. Ronda Rousey locked in an armbar on Mickie James. After that, the ref held both people's arms up. Alexa Bliss got in. Just nice, quick shot to the rib. That was it. And then they fell down. Then Ronda fell down. They did a backstage interview with Ronda saying, on how you're feeling, are you going to be 100% to compete on Sunday at the pay-per-view? Ronda, I could see she's got a lot of heart and she really wants to put, and she's really putting everything she's got into this, but she really needs to, her mic work still needs improving. And I'm not going to shit on her saying, oh my god, don't give her a mic. No. If somebody has a problem cutting promos, you need to have them fucking cut more promos to get fucking better. It's that simple. You know? But she cut the promo saying, I'm gonna fight, even though I may not be 100%. I may not have been 100% in other fights before, but I never backed out of a fight before, no matter how hurt I was. That's because I'm a fighter. Yeah, or something along those lines. So we come up to the final match of the night. Not closing segment, but final match. And it was the smelly hipster again, Elias. And I call him that because he, honest to God, looks like this one hipster that lives a few blocks up from me. And every time I walk my dog, I gotta go past this guy's house, and he's always outside strumming the same 6 songs from Nickelback, and he smells like he hasn't showered in like a fucking month. Just, ugh. But yeah, Elias is out there getting ready to go and strum a song, and then, lo and behold, thankfully saved by Mick Foley, Mick comes out, talks about, hypes up about Hell in a Cell this Sunday, and then talks about on how Elias, he is the future, you know, but he's not looking 5-10 years from now. He's talking the current future, and he's talking about, and he's looking at Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, and he has asked Stephanie McMahon, and he is now going to be the official special guest referee for that match. So it's going to be Strowman versus Roman with Mick Foley in there, with Foley calling the match. And this is more so hyping up and celebrating. It's been the 20-year mark since Mick Foley had that Hell in a Cell match with Taker in Pittsburgh, and then blew up a table and damn near fucking killed himself. Still give him mad respect for that. Sidebar note. Went and saw Mick Foley's stand-up show a few years ago. He was talking about that cell match. And it was right after he got choke slammed from the top of the cage into the ring. He's down there. Terry Funk's looking at he's looking at Taker. He's yelling at him. And he can hear Taker saying low, "Is he dead?" And Funk is just like, "I don't know. Check him." And, you know, because Taker can't break character. He's on camera. Taker's never broke character on camera. Check him. And then, when Terry wouldn't, that's when he, boom, that's when he chokeslammed Terry Funk out of his shoes. Or shoe, I should say. Okay, now that I'm done the sidebar. He also asked Steph if he could make just one particular match tonight. That's all. Just one. And he did. And it's going to be Elias against Finn Balor. So we got Elias versus Balor. This is a nice start. Had a nice start to it. I kind of dug it. One thing I do say I liked on how Elias was leading the match. You know, honestly, I feel more so heels should be the leader of the match. You know, the bad guy should lead the match more, because you can't have a good hero without a good villain, without an even greater villain to go against. You know, I mean, why do you think you don't see comic books with Superman just constantly chasing after bank robbers anymore? No. You got Superman chasing after fucking Brainiac and Lex Luthor and Bizarro. You know? So, point being though, he was being an extremely good villain, shitting on the town, you know, well, much like he always does with any town he's in, and just keeping up on Balor every which way. Match came to an end though as Elias was setting up for drift away. Balor countered, got into a quick roll-up, 1, 2, 3. That was it. Now, the closing segment of the night is Braun Strowman coming out. Now, after Seth and Dean came back, Strowman was livid, running all around backstage, trying to chase down Roman. And then he winds up getting the bright idea, thanks to the ever-so-beautiful Charlie Caruso, saying, if you go to the ring and call him out, maybe he'll show up. And he comes out, he calls out Roman, and then hear Roman's music, and then Roman stands up at the announce table. Next thing you know, them to start brawling for a minute, and then just as Braun clears the table and he's going to go and put Roman through it, Roman instead gets him, hoists him up, does a Samoan drop off of the announce table into the standalone tables that were right under. So then that's on how the show ended. Now, on another note, did not mention it at the beginning of the show, but they did officially announce today Renee Young is now the new official permanent commentator on Monday Night Raw. So now the Raw commentating team is Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Renee Young. I'm all for one happy on this. I'm not shitting on the coach. You know, the coach, he did as good of a job as he could in the position he was in. You know, but, you know, one of the most, the three most annoying fan bases you're ever going to meet are Star Wars fans, comic book fans, and wrestling fans. And wrestling fans are going to shit all over anything that they absolutely do not like, even if it's the smallest little thing. Like if their favorite wrestler just missed throwing a punch by like an inch or so, they'll still shit all over it. And then instead of saying it was that wrestler's fault, they'll say it was the opponent's fault. You know, you're still shitting on it though. And Coach, he was in a lose-lose position, fan base wise, because the hardcore fans were gonna be like, oh well, fuck Coach, he's shitty anyway. And then you're gonna have the other fans that are gonna be like, well, Coach is here, okay, well, let's see what it's got. And then you get the fans that shit on those fans as well as Coach. And so, yeah, it was a lose-lose no matter what on that. But either way, congratulations to Renee Young on that. Big thing, big moment, big deal. Hope nothing but good on that down the road. That said, that is it for this week's show, folks. So, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure you go look for me on my Twitter at Tim Vicious. You also have another account if I get ghosted or thrown in Twitter jail, Tim_Vicious. Also on that Facebook, gimmick Tim Ash. If you don't look for me on there from here, make sure you let me know from here. You found me on there from here. On my Twitter at Tim Vicious, so I think you got your keep going. Also, folks, do not forget to follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on the Twitter. Axel Mulligan, Kenny Killer, my two good brothers. I am Danny Sunday, and Oliver Ben, who's the executive producer for this show. He did also provide music for this week's show. Make sure y'all check it out on iTunes, Spotify, and such. Details are down below. Also, make sure you hit Ali up for one of these Ali Rewind shirts. Show the man some love and support. Cranky Grandpa and Dazzy MWP. Folks, like I always say, let me great, you hate me.